Hey guys, Warborne Season 2 is about to launch. It just went offline for maintenance. They put out an announcement for all of the different changes and things like that are coming with Season 2's update, the Dark Underworld. I'm going to go over these changes line by line, and I'm pretty excited. So go ahead and get strapped in and get ready to go over this content with me. So, new content. The season is officially live. New seasonal activities. I'm not going to go over all this stuff line by line on the top here because it's stuff I kind of already went over. New drifter growth system runes. I will be putting a video out for this once I kind of know more about it. I don't want to try to give information now and give it half-assed. It's not going to be conducive to anything, right? New exclusive tactical items. Retching Potion and Myconid Growth Elixir. I don't remember what these do offhand, but I do remember seeing them in the info panel thing that they did on Steam. So if you go on there, you'll be able to see those items and the new equipment items that they're releasing. New Drifter Tiana. That's what we saw in the preview video for the gameplay demo that they did for Season 2. Basically, she's like a huntress type, and she drops like a big hunky bear looking thing that fights for you. Seems like a really fun thing. Sanguine Shardblade, Paladin's Mace, and Twilight's End are new legendary items that they're putting into the game. Sanguine Shardblade specifically seems really strong. The same is true for Coat of Purification, which is like a big AoE cleanse, which honestly you can't get enough cleanse in this game. It's so good to have because of the way that dots are cleansed. New season check-in event, new faction pass, makes sense. New boost station recipes for magic resistance and armor. I don't know that those are going to get used nearly as often as some of the other ones, namely like lifesteal serums, which I think are still really popular and like outrageously overexpensive for what they do, but I mean, they're strong. New balance adjustments. I will come back to that. I have it open in another tab. If you want to see the balance adjustment changes for the different items, stay toward the end of the video, and I'll go over those line by line as well. New arrival at the store, just some cosmetic stuff, basically, and a drifter appearances for Varnax. Seems kind of cool for people who play him. Hub-related adjustments. Adjusted hub occupation points, increasing the hub occupation points of the capital, and added additional key hubs. This is huge. I think that owning the capital is already important, so having it be worth even more is absolutely great. Adjusted the death penalty drop rules on maps, reducing penalties in advanced maps and the Forge Heart. Okay, that makes sense. I think that in some cases, the drop rate for the equipment that you have on, especially like if you lose 2 or 3 pieces in a map, that can get really oppressive really quickly with how expensive some items get toward the end. And they do make an adjustment to the cost of items in this patch specifically. So it makes sense that they're trying to balance that out a little bit. Fix an issue where using the corrosion policy on fortifications did not reduce damage from already placed spike traps. That just seems like a bug fix. After using a national policy that lowers repair fees, the cost displayed for repairing all should match the actual cost. Again, just seems like a bug fix. Optimize the protection time confirming after conquering a harvest hub. Optimize the protection time confirmation. I assume that they're talking about the hub timing for when you can re-attack a hub without using a policy. So like if somebody takes a hub from you, you can't reconquer it in the same day without taking a policy. Ergo, it's protected from being captured for a little bit of time. I guess they're just updating the confirmation window. And remove the warband medal requirement for end of season settlement. So many people were mad about this because they left their warband and joined another one only to find out that they're not going to get settlement rewards. And I'm sad that that happened to those people, but it just goes to show that you should be watching videos like this if you're not informed, or you should be informing yourself just by digging through the stuff in the game. There is a lot of systems in the game. Be familiar with them. It does help you play the game, and in this case, does help you get settlement. Map queue adjustments. A faction will only be counted as a combatant when it meets a minimum number of players with sufficient power. These two changes here, that one and the adjusted minimum power requirement for map queuing to better align with the current season phase, these are the reason I'm even watching or looking at these changes. Someone posted this exact thing in our chat, and I was like, what is this? I was like, are you reading patch notes right now? Give me the link. And I was like, I'm going to go look at them right now. So this is one of the changes I was already aware of. Super cool if it works correctly. Am I holding my breath that it works correctly? Definitely not. Um, I'm okay with it though. I'm glad to see changes with the queue system in general. It is something that definitely needs iteration badly. Logistics system adjustments increase warband resource transport speed. Resource transporting elephants are now easier to spot on the map. They were already really easy to spot on the map, so that's kind of bad, but at least it moves a little faster, maybe. Yikes. Resources obtained by intercepting Warborne resource transports or destroying Foundry and Crucible communication stations can now earn contribution points and warband contribution. I'm surprised that it didn't already do that. You get a whole bunch of resources from the stuff that drops or whatever, increases the resource drop rate from those when destroyed from 50 to 80. This is an insane change. If somebody was already transporting like a couple of thousand material, you already got half of it. That was already really good. Now you're going to get 80%, even better. And now you're getting contribution. You better watch out for your transports because they're going to get ganked a lot. Increase the frequency of the boost station revenue settlement. I think it's just how often you get paid from the boost station. That's whatever. Adjust the random resources in Solo Rift to increase the weight of trees and decrease the weight of scrap iron. Thank God, dude. I hardly ever saw trees in Solo Rifts, and to be honest, I barely ever did Solo Rifts as it is. Combat fixes for Aegis's passive, not activating the ultimate ability of Sentinel Gun Barrage. Guns are bad anyway, who cares? Fix an issue with Astral Magic's passive, Tiana's skill. I don't know why this would have had, well, I guess from PTR, this would have been changed, right? Tiana's skills. Issue with W skill Shatter Coil. Caster passive effects would remove to 2 radiant fluxes left at target. Fix an issue. These just bug fixes, it seems like. Fix an issue where some shields would not fade out after entering combat. Not even sure what that means, to be honest. But okay, I'm all for bug fixes. I'm not going to spend too much time thinking about any of this. Content adjustments. The PvP mode has been reintroduced to the game. Players. Oh, I'm going to screenshot that. I'm literally going to take the time to just screenshot that right now. Players can activate and deactivate the PvP mode in escape panel. Flag for PvP mode increases notoriety. This was a huge problem in the test, and I already know that some factions, some warbands they're gonna butt heads a lot harder this season, and I'm glad that they're putting this back in the game because it adds variety for those players that want to like engage with the people in their faction without getting um penalized for not like having as many people, but maybe, having some kind of a way around in order to take stuff from them or whatever. I'm cool with that content, but it's super, like, I don't want to say sketchy territory, but we'll see what goes on with that in the next season. But I'm excited that it's coming back. Trading house adjustments reduce the daily price cap and floor range from 40% to 20%. Okay. A new price increase limit has been added with the maximum increased cap at around 1,000% of the initial price. Yeah, we're about to see 40 million, 50 million price predator bows. That's all that says to me, basically. I really hope that that's not the case, but let's be real, that's going to be the case. Deposit and claim Starfall token chests of various levels of the warband storage. Okay, cool. It'll be easier to trade them around, I guess. Updated the challenge opponent in the final stage of the survival trial. Adjusted the team danger rift entry limit in the verge zones. Only 5 players from same faction may enter. Oh, what? What the higher rank ones? I guess were 7. So now they're all just 5. I don't know how that's going to work. Issue for contribution when rating scrap post. Issue where PvP contribution was calculated incorrectly when killed by players with lower legion ranks. Fix an issue where mods locked manually could be disassembled. Oh, that sucks. Fix an issue with a visual effect with Draknor +6 battle infusion. Fix an effects for Charge Beast applying tough hide effect to the target after charging. And the ratio was adjusted of immediately obtaining tradable flawless Eclipsium when recharging through the Steam channel. I assume that that's just a bug fix for the in-game shop stuff. Again, I'm not really concerned with like bug fix stuff. I think that like some of that stuff is like, okay, yeah, sure, it's going to change. I don't have an opinion. Bug fixes are always good. Thanks. Supports razor peripheral lighting effect. Oh, this is just other stuff that's not necessarily game related, right? So like DPI, the surface day night cycle was adjusted so that it is a longer daytime than it is a nighttime. I don't know if it was always that way, but now it is double. Interaction icon now scales up with mouse size. Thank God for that. Um, Dude, I don't want to have to squint to see if my mouse is bigger for a reason, right? Wartime voting. Oh, the number eligible voters has been adjusted to the top 300 players in faction by contribution. That's actually a huge change. It used to be only 100 players. So they literally tripled the number of people that can vote for wartime. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. You can remotely check on the map of an opposing faction has activated a danger rift, fixed an issue where the travel route for remotely summoning a drift mark only appeared after opening the world map, an issue where other unsold items on a faction store were also grayed out after successfully purchasing an item. Okay, bug fixes. I think this is the only meaningful change that's from down here, and I think that is the bottom of the page. So I'm going to go over the combat adjustment changes for the different equipments for the balance stuff here. So, season 2.1 launch and balance adjustments, offline maintenance, blah, 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 maintenance, server start, server uptimes. Yep. We looked at this video already. And here we go. Drifter attribute adjustment. Ari base strength down a little bit, growth down a little bit. Mad Barrel base agility down a little bit, growth up a little bit. Varisia base strength up, base agility up, agility growth up, base int down a little bit. This is Varisia is going to be a little bit stronger earlier and later, so I like that a lot actually. Varisia is already pretty good, but I think as far as like solo and like stealthy type stuff, I think Varisia is going to see a lot more meta gameplay this season around, especially since more people are going to have access to her from the beginning. Illisarch, a little bit of changes, some growth changes, intelligence coming down, which is a little weird. Especially since like these growth rates aren't even high enough for it to matter. But Mace, hello. Basically, they're making it so that the health trade-off that you're getting on Illisarch is being, like what is that? What's scaled out. Um, which I guess makes sense. I don't know that he needed to lose intelligence though. You could have just left it alone at 1.1, or even could have left it alone. Umbra, some changes, some growth changes. Not really anything crazy. Intelligence growth losing a lot here for Umbra, but makes sense because they're trying to make her later game scaling better. I think same is true for Vrisia, right? But for the same thing though, Vrisia didn't lose scaling, only lost base int, as where Umbra lost base int and int scaling, which is a little odd that they would have done that. Vire, strength and strength scaling coming up a little bit. Shadow Steer, a little bit of movement speed. That's different. Base strength and strength growth up a little bit, which is good because I think that Shadow Steer wasn't seeing a lot of play because he was a little too squishy and he couldn't get out like quick enough. Durian's active getting like quite a bit of changes. The damage rate going from 700% to 500% is a pretty massive nerf, although the cooldown rate coming down 5 seconds maybe makes it so that you can use it more often. Adds an effect where allies within the field reflect damage. Whoa! Okay. Durian just went from probably one of the most useless drifters in my eyes to that's chonky, dude. We love to see some reflect. That's great. Man, that's awesome. I wish that honestly, I wish that was a 50% reflect rate instead of a 25%. I'm not going to complain about it. Anything's good. Cannon mode, increase speed a little bit. Makes sense because he's basically immobile when he's in cannon mode. Izzy's cooldown time come down a little bit. You could have even gone a little bit more. I think 40 seconds is still too high. Same is true for Aegis. I think 40 seconds is just too high. Astral Magus coming down 20 seconds. I'm okay with this being as high as it is. Even at 100 seconds, it was probably fine, right? Like, I don't think anybody was complaining about the cooldown because Astral Magus' ability is very strong. Number of Starlight Falls enemy take when using skills in multiple Twin Lance infusions from 1 to 3. I don't know enough about Boonville to know how cool that changes, but this looks like triple, so that sounds cool. Vesca, damage interval up a little bit, damage rate up a little bit, creeping stone stack limit from 4 to 2. Effect from different players are independent and no longer share stacks. That seems like a nerf. Yeah, that seems like a nerf. I'm gonna have to check that out on live. I like Vesca a lot. I really hope they didn't do too. I really don't like this. And I don't know what this stack limit change does to the ability without looking. Passive helical convergence, um, orbital bullet duration down by half. That's crazy in my opinion. Again, one of those changes where I'm thinking to myself, like, was that necessary? Like, how many people are using Helix for that to be like a worthwhile change? Vire's passive damage up and time window to stack blood curse after dealing damage literally times 5. That's crazy. I don't know if that's a buff or a nerf. I don't know. Like, I don't use Vire because she's a purchasable character and I'm free to play. So somebody let me know if that is good or bad for you in the comments, please. Ice Foci. So these are weapon adjustment changes. It doesn't look like there's very many. I'm already halfway through the balance changes. Burst, cast time down, frost wall, chill effects from different players are independent, no longer share stacks. Seems like there's a lot of this going on, which is good. Plague outbreak, burst damage is up quite a bit. When its character has multiple plagues, only one will trigger a burst. Okay, that makes sense. Are they going to trigger like back to back then? Or once you trigger a plague, does it go away for all of them? Not really making sense there. Just some more casting time changes. You couldn't change the cast time enough on fire stuff for it to be good, I don't think. Honest to God. Titan Spine Blade fix an issue where the aura does not work on multiple players. Okay. Bug fixes. We love those. Verdant Embrace healing changes. Healing rate up quite a bit. MP cost up quite a bit. Adds an effect to cleanse 1 die every 2 seconds. I love that. Again, you cannot have enough cleanse in this game. I think that I will probably start using Verdant Embrace this go around if I am healing on this season. I don't know yet. Tendrils Grasp, ricochet range up, bullet speed down, initial bullet speed up. Okay. Just seems like minor changes, nothing crazy. Toxic Shroud reduces healing recede by another 10%, damage rate up a little bit. They probably just recognize that ability is just not as strong as it could be. I don't think that Toxic Shroud is something that gets used very often at all. This could even have been 45%, and it wouldn't have made me think twice. Deadshot basic attack cooldown time from 2.5 to 2. Okay. Okay. Wingblade Twin Storm W damage interval 0.5 to 1. Damage rate 50% to 100. So damage happens less often, but it does more damage per tick. Okay. Why? Why was this necessary? If I guess maybe just because of the way that the scaling is. Okay, we'll take it. That's a nothing burger of a change. Molten Blast bullet max distance expansion speed quite a bit larger. Frost Collar's Frost W, Hypothermia Independence. Okay, makes sense. Defrost Independent. Okay, makes sense. Hexbound Malice reduces MP by 20 now. Increase the trigger interval. I don't care. The same player has 3 stack limit for buffs obtained from different sources. So you can't like spam hex locks to like get rid of someone's mana very quickly. That kind of makes sense with all these other independent changes going on. Riposte Helm, block up a little bit. I don't think it's strong enough even still. Cooldown time on root grip and damage up. Again, I don't think it's strong enough to even be used. So many people will not be using Tangle Guard. In order for Tangle Guard to be good, right? The cooldown time on this would have to be like 17 seconds or something. Like it would have to be a significantly lower for me to want to use it over like Dazzling. Phantom Step Boots adds an effect that makes the skill uninterruptible. Why was it interruptible before? Okay. Escape Strider's cooldown up 5 seconds, but increases movement speed by 25%, lasting 2 seconds. Okay. Okay. I guess they're just balancing out this change because they don't want people to like slide out of combat as easily. But I'm kind of sad because I like Evasion Striders as they are right now. I like the lower cooldown. Although 25 seconds still isn't really that high. Exodrift, Phase Shift F after returning to the start point increases movement speed down. Movement speed duration is up a little bit though. And maximum distance from origin a little bit higher. Cooldown time is quite a significant increase. I think that they're just having the increase for the cooldown time be synonymous with the other pair of boots that you have that like competes with that slot, I guess. Makes sense. Mod attribute adjustment blessing fix the issue that damage resistance from multiple blessings can stack. Okay, bug fix. Mass Hatred Matrix movement speed bonus is now 20%, then increases by 5% per second. Doesn't say what the maximum is, but I assume it's just whatever the maximum is now based over the amount of time. This is actually like another haste matrix nerf. Like it was really, 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 really strong, and then they nerfed it, and then it was just strong, and then they nerfed it, and then it was just good, and now they're nerfing it again. Hopefully, it's just still good. Hopefully, this doesn't make it like nigh unusable. But I mean, like 20% movement speed for a whole group of people still sounds good to me. And realistically, it's 25% if you're like counting in that first second, right? Hellscourge Comm Station building adjustment uh, went from map distance 1 to map distance greater than 2, so that you can't orbital the map next to the one you're in. That's kind of weird, I think, actually. Map distance less than 2. Oh, maybe it means that you can hit 2 maps away. Sorry, this is like a weird way to write this, in my opinion. Either it's a nerf or a buff, right? If it's a nerf, then it's got to be a buff, right? Increased attack range from map distance less than 1 to map distance less than 2. This seems like a buff. I think that it wasn't getting used enough. I don't even think that I saw it more than like once on the map. So it makes sense that they're buffing a little bit, probably thinking to themselves like, oh, that's not getting used because it's not good. But realistically, it's probably just not getting used because it's complicated as hell to use. Healing base, number of healing targets from 5 to 10. Oh, healing base. Number of healing targets from 5 to 10, max HP up to 30%. Duration of continuous healing recovery up to 24 seconds is crazy. And base regeneration up from 100% to 200%. They definitely buffed the Jesus out of that building. That's crazy. Heavy machine gun turret, bullet deals 10% max to 15% max. Bullets cost much less MP. Heavy railgun turret, significantly reduced the range, literally halved the range of that thing, which is good because the railgun was probably the one that I saw the most because it is the most was the most useful. Vehicle adjustments. Mobile jammer significantly increases activation and end time, cannot be manually canceled. That's dumb. Hellscourge mobile beacon, movement speed from 6.5 to 8. That's cool. Power armor welder cannot enter Driftband Warband Driftmark anymore. Wait, what? Why? Wouldn't you want to park it somewhere when it's not getting used? That seems like a dumb change. The same player can obtain a maximum of 8 buffs from different sources. The affected skills or buffs include these ones. Was there not a maximum before, I wonder? Also, bleed? Interesting. It'll be interesting to know how this shakes out in the season. I don't know if there was already a buff in place or a buff limit in place for that to matter. This is the bottom of the page. I'm just gonna give my final thoughts. It seems like a lot of these changes were like micro adjustments. It doesn't seem like there was anything that was like, oh my god, except maybe this verdant embrace dot change or the honestly, I'm just going to say that. I think the verdant embrace dot change is probably the most significant one out of all these changes in the launch and ballast adjustments. And I'm not sure that that's enough like of a meta shakeup for me between full seasons. Hopefully balance adjustments between 2.1 and 2.2 are a little bit more heavy-handed. I'm a radical when it comes to change. I like change. I like exploring the nuances of different seasons between season. Um, Hopefully the hub occupation points and things like that, or the return of PvP is going to be absolutely massive. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. Please like and subscribe because I'm trying to grow the channel and I know you guys are not subscribed. 90% of the people who watch the channel are not subscribed. Please subscribe. And as always, guys, I'll see you in the next one.